How you doing out there, everybody? My name is Pepe, and you are watching Pepe La View. Right, it is what it is. Thank you guys so much for clicking that thumbnail over here at Pepe La View. I appreciate it. Welcome back, you new viewers, you returning viewers, and you subscribers. I appreciate you guys so much because over here we're talking about Phyllis Hyman. Yes, Phyllis Hyman. I just uploaded a video regarding her 1977 album, her first album. And, you know, as I am discovering her in the beginning of her career musically, and I'm thinking about the time in which she came out, as I said in the previous video. Obviously, she came out around the time that Chaka Khan and Natalie Cole was already established. Like, they have already racked up some hits. Chaka Khan is about to go solo in 1978. Phyllis Hyman is releasing her album in 1977. You know, and the career, it's just interesting, right? When you think about it. Because the reason why I say it is interesting because when it looks like a career should take off, there are so many politics involved, right? You know, I put it this way. We already have a diva that is being marketed to us, and we have fallen in love with that diva. You know, like Chaka Khan. You know, she's already, you know, the lead female vocal in the band, right? Rufus. And now it's becoming Rufus featuring Chaka Khan, or you see. And then we have Natalie Cole, and Natalie Cole is coming out, and Natalie Cole seems to be competing with Aretha Franklin. You know, we have that kind of sound, so on and so forth. And she's been marketed, even though Natalie Cole, you know, career, some people can say they done put her in a box because, you know, of her father, so to speak. So she's fighting to, you know, come out of that box and be her own individual singer and R&B diva, if you will. So she's fighting against that. We have all of these things that come into play when we're talking about a singer and that singer's music. You see, and record companies tend to say, and I've said it before, you know, I said again as it relates to this day and time, you know, Tommy Mottola, he had Mariah Carey, you know, Babyface had Toni Braxton, Clive Davis had Mariah Carey, you know, then, you know, you have your Celine Dion's and so on and so forth, you know, and these divas are marketed by these, you know, major companies, and they already have a similar type artist, even let's just say Shania Twain, you know, so on and so forth. So it's kind of like once we have that diva on that particular record company, you know, then it becomes a, you know, a fight to try to keep them in their slots and keep them successful, so on and so forth, you know, and sometimes these divas are not releasing music at the same time. You know, let's not compete that way either. Like, okay, well, what, so-and-so is about to drop an album. Okay, can we rush in real quick and put this particular album out before this diva releases her album, or should we wait, so on and so forth? You know, it's just all about timing, I guess you could say, and just pretty much trying to find your way in the midst of all of that. And then you have a record company who sees you in a particular way, right? Because that's exactly what's happening. Because, you know, with Phyllis Hyman being on Buddah Records, I would just like to think Buddah Records is probably not the record company, if you will. You know, they have some, you know, probably pretty important people over there at the time. But at the end of the day, it's all about the right producers. It's all about the right managers. You know, it's about the right image, so on and so forth, the money, the marketing. You know, it's about all of that. And I guess what I'm trying to say is that now that I'm looking at Phyllis Hyman's career from the standpoint not of her, album Living All Alone, where she is trying to really and truly maneuver her way around all of this, taking her career, in her own hands. Now, we have someone like, now that I'm thinking about all of this, I'm sorry if it seems like I'm all over the place, but follow with me. But now I'm thinking about a diva such as Anita Baker, right? So let's kind of play this out a little bit. So Anita Baker is what, with Chapter 8, right? Around this time. Isn't she? So she's with Chapter 8 around this time. And Chapter 8 is on Areola Records. I think I'm pronouncing that right. So she's on Areola Records. And as they're over there working on their album, right? It's sold to Arista, correct? Think about it now. This 1977, she releases her first album. Areola Records, Anita Baker's on Areola Records, right? In 1978, 1979, something like that. And the single, I Just Want to Be Your Girl. Both of these record companies that Phyllis Hyman's on and Anita Baker is on, they are bought out by Arista Records. Now, this is just me trying to put two and two together. Y'all should know by now how my mind works. And I'm saying to myself, well, Anita Baker is dropped from Areola Records. Chapter 8 band is because allegedly, let me put up here, oh gosh, y'all make me tired. But allegedly because she can't sing. So if I understand correctly, she could have been one of Clive Davis's divas. We're talking about Anita Baker, but she's dropped from Arista Records, from Areola Records when Arista purchased Areola Records. Buddah is bought out by Arista Records as well. But for whatever reason, Clive Davis signs Phyllis Hyman to Arista Records. Interesting, isn't it? And now when you think about Anita Baker's voice and you think about Phyllis Hyman's voice, they're pretty much the same. I'm not into all those vocals and contraltos and first soprano, second soprano, tenor, and the chest. You sing it with your head voice, your chest voice. All that's a B7, 89, 32. You know what I'm saying? Like, leave that to the vocal coach, right? I'm the historian over here. Okay, so I'm looking at all of these things kind of play out. And if you look at someone like Phyllis Hyman, I mean, drop dead beautiful. They're plunging. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I mean, look at her. She's definitely a matla. As Brown would say on Meet the Brown, she's definitely a matla. She's definitely drop dead gorgeous. You can definitely see her being someone just looking at her. And if, in fact, they drop Anita Baker because, this Chapter 8, because they said Anita Baker can't sing. Do we really and truly believe that at the end of the day? Sometimes people just got to tell you certain things just to make you feel better about yourself and move you onward, right? But if he's trying to figure out which two divas he's going to choose, I'm talking about Clive Davis, then obviously just based off looks along and being able to market Phyllis Hyman, he's probably thinking like, man, like I've struck gold. If you listen to Phyllis Hyman's first album, self-titled album, if you listen to her second album, single song, I like every single song on the album. And from what I'm finding out is that songs from her third album, or let's just say her second album, because her second album for Buddah, songs was taken from that to make it her second official album when they went over to Arista Records. So what I'm trying to say is that if you really and truly think about it, I mean, he's definitely probably trying to market Phyllis Hyman as the next, like Aretha Franklin type, Barbara Streisand type, Whitney Houston type, Dionne Warwick type artist. Do you understand where I'm going? And now I can understand now why Phyllis Hyman will bump heads with a Clive Davis. Because she's already pretty much has found a sound that works great for her. I mean, like, I think everything is great. What they could have done is found songwriters and producers who, well, let me stop. Because I don't know if there was anything necessarily wrong with the songwriters or producers. I'm going to get into that as well, going back to the producers and the managers and the record company. But he already had what he had. I don't think that he needed to tamper with it at all. I think that Phyllis Hyman, if they had continued to do what they were doing music-wise, that we definitely would have another Chaka Khan here. Another Chaka Khan or Nat Nicole, but maybe it just wasn't good enough. If you think about it, maybe he didn't see that as being good enough or marketable enough or selling enough records in his eyes. I'm talking about a Clive Davis. It's interesting. It's very interesting. As I'm talking about, and then if you also think about it, even Aretha Franklin's career is going through a change, right? If you think about it, Patti LaBelle is out during this time trying to find her way as a solo artist. It's just interesting. So when I'm thinking about producers, I'm thinking about songs, so on and so forth. I'm just thinking about, how do you make that work? Because, sometimes, as I said before, sometimes people's songs are probably not picked up on radio. I know we talk about payola and we talk about all those things, but maybe it's just the fact of the matter is when I talk about Diana Ross's career, some people probably look at it and see, oh, okay, that song, okay, it says produced by Diana Ross. Oh, okay, well, we'll give it a listen. But, people are not taking you seriously because it's not written by or produced by, let's just say I'm throwing out a name like a Babyface. Oh, Babyface, forget if it sounds good or not. Like, we ain't even got to hear it. We're going to play it right now. It's Babyface. It's just good. We know it's going to be good. Right? So it's all about the producers. It's all about the manager. It's all about the record company, so on and so forth. The name alone. So it's interesting that at this part of her career, where I'm liking all of these songs, and we're talking about her second album, obviously, single song, and there's no need for me to talk about any of these songs on the album because this here is the album to me. Like, this is the album that I like all the songs on the album. I like all the up-tempo tracks. Oh gosh, I mean that says a lot. It has to be heartbreaking and disappointing. It does. When you want to do, or you have the opportunity to do what you love, and it looks like it's about to play out, and then all of a sudden you're not playing the role that someone wants you to play in someone else's bigger picture, if you will. If I'm not mistaken, when I listened to, well, excuse me, not listen to, when I watched, I think her Unsung, I have to go back and watch it again, but I don't remember them comparing her at all to a Chaka Khan or to a Nat Nicole. It's in my ears. It's what I'm hearing. It's what I'm seeing. It's what I'm sensing. It's how I'm putting all the pieces together. But one thing is for sure, right? In her Unsung, there was a lot of talk about her and Angela Bofield. By the way, I have Angela Bofield's album over here somewhere. I know I do. we might end up talking about Angela Bofield because I know I got the album. I have one of her albums, I think. Yeah. Angela Bofield album. I think this is like the best of Angela Bofield. So it's interesting that these two ladies, right, were on Arista Records. These two ladies were on Arista Records. Pretty much at the same time. But then again, you know, when I think about it, now I don't know. Y'all kind of help me out. You know, I'm gonna have to go back. I think I might go back and just kind of look at Clive Davis's career of divas. But when I think about it right now, who does he have over there? Seriously, who does he have over there when you think about it in the late 70s? I'm going to have to look into it. Because when does Aretha Franklin go over to Arista Records? Can someone tell me? So Aretha Franklin is going over to Arista Records at that time. Interesting. This is interesting. Interesting. So Aretha Franklin is over there. Hold on, you guys. I'm just trying to gather some information in my head. Interesting. Dionne Warwick is over there. I don't know. My eyes are just getting bigger. And here's what I was trying to come to. This is the conclusion I was trying to come to with this in my head. Maybe at this moment in time, Clive Davis has not yet had that breakout diva yet. And maybe that's what he's scrounging for, you know, because you have an established Aretha Franklin, right? You have an established Dionne Warwick, but of course you got to also break their careers for yourself. Like, you know, when I say break, you have to make it, you know. And wow. Let me go back to this Anita Baker thing. Are you following me? Because if in fact it's true that Arista purchased Areola Records and Chapter 8 was dropped from the label because Clive Davis did not take a liking to Anita Baker's voice, Anita Baker found her way. Look where Anita Baker is right now today. But Anita Baker is where she is based off the fact of she took control of her career. Like, even in what we're talking about right now, speculating about, you know, is she a diva? Isn't she a diva? Really, does it really matter? I mean, think about the people who helped and assist her, you know, in becoming that diva. Wow. Wow. And all it takes is that one song for that one diva, right? And the next thing you know, it's kind of like, oh, okay, this is the one. This is what we have. This is what we're working with. Because at the end of the day, I'm not dissing anybody. I promise you, I'm not dissing anyone. But it looked like he found it eventually in Aretha Franklin until Whitney Houston came along. Or maybe it was happening for Aretha Franklin and Whitney Houston at the same time because they're working with the same producers. Right? Not Michael J. Powell, Narada Michael Walton. So it's happening for the both of them. And if we look at Phyllis's Hyman career, right, dead smack dab in the middle of her career. I'm talking about, when I say career, I'm talking about her music, her recording, right? If she's on Arista Records in 1983, she's pretty much out the door. That's her last recording. They're parting ways. And she eventually finds, some success with her with the next album after that, 3 years later, with Living All Alone. But by that time, she had grown so weary in her career and in the success and trying to make it work until it was like, So I can understand that. Wow. I guess for me right now, it's kind of coming together. It's making sense in my head now that I understand kind of like what Phyllis Hyman is saying. I don't know. I'm not going to. I'm going to simply speculate at this moment in time because I'm reviewing her entire catalog. So right now, this here is the video where I'm talking about her second album, but kind of putting things into perspective for me. And I'm just wondering, did she ever work with like Narada Michael Walton and all of those people on those albums that Whitney Houston or Aretha Franklin did? Because if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong. And she did. I just happened to look up. And in 1993, she did. So what was it? Because I'm looking at the Goddess of Love album. I just happened to look up and I'm seeing it, the Goddess of Love album. And she definitely worked with Narada Michael Walden. So this is going to give me the opportunity. See, that's why I love it over here when I start talking like out loud. See how stuff just pulled in like that was just standing right there in front of my face. Talking out loud, and it just fell in my face like, here's the answer to your question. So she did. So I'm interested in hearing the Goddess of Love album and seeing what was it. What didn't mesh well on that album for it not to be a success? Or could it have been a success? Who knows? This is interesting. This is so interesting. And all right, I think this is a wonderful place to stop over here, People of You. Well, you already know over here, People of You, I really truly believe in putting your behind where your heart desires to be. I hope you're doing that out there. And not only that, remember, whenever I leave my mother's presence, she always says to me, baby, remember, I love you, but God loves you best. And I'm here to tell you, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for your support. I love you. I hope you're also loving yourself. And I'm also looking forward to seeing you next video. And until then, you know what to do out there, you guys. Take care of yourselves.